team that went 5-7 a year ago to a team that we thought that could win the Big 12 in year one. Didn't go the way that anybody expected. But the Utah Utes are on the docket here. Joe, when you look into the 2025 season into Utah, your thoughts on how things may shake out going into the season?
I am getting sucked all the way back in.
Don't
say pause. I fell for this trap last year, and I'm going to do it again. 2 reasons. Utah quietly has the best offensive line in the country. At the very least, they have a top 3 offensive line in the country. They're the only team that I know of from evaluating. I've broken down film for my job with A to Z Sports for the upcoming draft. We do our summer scouting. Only team that I had first-round grades for 2 offensive linemen, Caleb Lomu, Spencer Fano. Both incredibly gifted, will be top 50 picks at the bare minimum if they declare for the upcoming draft. Super gifted. The other reason why I have a lot of optimism, which if you've got guys that good in the Big 12, you are going to be able to run the ball. You're going to have success. Their problems last year happened because Cam Rising was a old man that was falling apart.
He was a shell of himself.
Yeah, he could not stay healthy, and it felt like there was no contingency plan. It felt like all their eggs were in that basket of like, okay, Cam Rising's back. We're going to hit the ground running. We're going to run the ball. We're going to be able to attack downfield. And the minute the wheels fell off on that offense, they just went to quarterback after quarterback that didn't work. They did. Nobody's really talked about this. They did what Oklahoma did. They went and got a new offensive coordinator from New Mexico, and they brought the quarterback with them, with Devin Dampier, who rushed for 1,000 yards in New Mexico last year. He is not John Mateer. Is he really athletic and really hard to tackle and a playmaker, point guard style playmaker? Absolutely. I think that if their success comes this season, Blake, even though that they did have some roster turnover, especially in the defensive tackle position, which I don't love, there is a lot to get excited about for those 2 big things. Key players at the 2 most important positions on any roster.
What has Utah been known for in the last decade?
What are you going for?
No, I mean like philosophy for coaching. What has been defense and running the football effectively? You went out and got Dampier, who had, as you mentioned, over 1,000 yards, actually over 1,100 yards, and 20 touchdowns, actually 19. You get to a place where, Joe, I do think he might be a good enough athlete in the Big 12 to continue. I don't know if he goes for 20 touchdowns rushing. Okay. Let's get that understood. However, I'm not saying they're taking a shot in the dark here, but they did the Walmart version to the Coca-Cola version of what Oklahoma did. I like Dampier. He had 12 picks a season ago. The Big 12 is a better conference than the conference that you were in a season ago. Now, he ran the football all over the place. He's a good athlete. But, Joe, their philosophy is going to be to run the football and for them to play really good defense. With that good offensive line that you talked about, I'm not going to go as far as to say that they have the best offensive line in the country. I can't go there yet. But if they do, to your point, which you've already scouted these guys deeply, let's just say that they do, and you can control the line of scrimmage in a league that necessarily doesn't have the same level of talent of other conferences up front, Joe, they're going to dominate. They're going to dominate here. But the biggest thing for Utah and the biggest problem that Utah has had the last 2 seasons has been quarterback play. I mean, it 1,000% has. I think they've been good in some places. Now, the question for me and why I would tell you to pump the brakes a little bit, how quickly can 7 transfer wide receivers and a quarterback get on the same page?
Yeah.
They have 7 transfer wide receivers. They went out this year and got Tobias Merriweather.
Former Notre Dame guy.
Former Notre Dame and Cal guy. Larry Simmons from USM, and Ryan Davis. Joe, that's the 3 top that they went and got. They got 4 other ones. Maybe they hit some diamonds in the rough here. Maybe they find some guys that can really play. Maybe the connection works. But I have a quarterback with 12 interceptions a season ago and was turnover prone with receivers that he does not know. And I will say this until I'm blue in the face. And we're going to look at their schedule in just a minute. When you get in critical situations, you have got to effectively throw the football. It is the bottom line. On third down, when you need the big throw and the quarterback's got to step up, can he do it? I don't know. I just don't know. Defensively, for me, Joe, I think they're always just going to be good. Right? I don't think they were bad a year ago. I went through all their statistics a year ago, and Joe, I threw it out. I got halfway through and I threw it out. I'm like, bro, you got Isaac Wilson with a 3-4 turnover game. What are we doing here? Right? Like, I'm supposed to judge how good this defense was a season ago based off of what? Now you got Barton returning defensively, Snowden returning defensively. Joe, we'll see. They got to figure it out at quarterback. And if they have done that, then maybe you're cooking with grease here and they're back on top.
Right. If Dan Pierre could play up to that expectation, I think that's where they get back into stride. And it's going to be a completely different style of quarterback from what we saw with Cam Rising and how the offense operated around him. The receiver stuff and also at running back, they're resetting pretty hard at both spots.
They got 3 new running backs as well from the portal.
Hard reset at defensive tackle. I don't think you need to completely resolve all those position groups to be fine. Defensive tackle is the one where I think I have the most worry. If there's 2 position groups that are the easiest just to throw bodies in, I had this conversation with Ryan Roberts, my co-host for the A to Z Film Room show. We were talking about this, and it's like if there's positions that are the easiest just to throw guys in, it's running back and it's receiver. But chemistry does need to be built up. Hopefully they were able to do that during the spring. Hopefully at least one of these guys can be a premier, just quality target. We don't need a 1,000-yard receiver. We just need a couple of guys to go for 500 or so because I think they're going to try and run the football super effectively. I'm a big Lander Barton fan just from the college football perspective that he is gigantic at linebacker.
Massive.
6'5". He's huge. He's going to rack up a ton of tackles. That's another type of player that you don't typically see in the Big 12. A guy that big, that physical, that explosive at his size. There is just so many outliers, I think, athletically that they have to tap into. But those resets of those position groups, those are the things that's going to hold them back if anything does.
Joe, where they're going to get pressure from defensively? I'm legitimately asking you because I don't know. Their sack production was not at a high enough level for you last year. I know you were on the field a lot. I know that Isaac Wilson and company did not give you a lot of favors. Joe, you got some pretty damn good quarterbacks in the Big 12 that can run, by the way. Joe, as much as I would want to buy in, I'm telling you as a friend, you got to pump the brakes on them. I think that they're going to be better than 5-7. I do. I understand what you're talking about and that you're high with them on the offensive line. But my brother in Christ, there are some flaws on this team when you're bringing in that many transfers offensively. Connection doesn't work that way. It doesn't.
Okay. But here's my thing, though. I keep seeing people predicting that Baylor's going to win the conference. I would rather take Utah over Baylor.
Joe,
so I like Sawyer Robertson. Sawyer Robertson was a good player when I broke his tape down, but there's a lot. It's just Sawyer Robertson, I feel like, at Baylor.
No, they got some speedy receivers. They got some speed. They got speed.
Utah has just as much to get excited about.
You give Sawyer Robertson all the time in the world. It don't matter what happens. He's going to pick you apart like he did LSU, and that's exactly what LSU did to him in the bowl game. Couldn't get to him, and he picked him apart one by one.
They do not have anywhere near the quality of offensive line that Utah does. They don't have anywhere near the quality of linebackers that Utah does.
A lot of those offensive linemen were there last year, and they struggled to run the football. in certain situations. When Isaac couldn't get anything going and everybody knew that they were running the football, I mean, does Dampier come in here and reduce his turnovers in a better conference?
It's going to be, I think it's going to be completely different though, because you literally just said it. They knew that they had to go to Micah Bernard in so many situations because they knew that they couldn't throw the football. I remember watching those games. We were stacking the box. It's a lot easier to be diverse when you've got a mobile quarterback like Dampier. I think this is going to be a lot more dynamic the way that they're going to move the rock.
Look, I saw a kid in the Pac-12 come to the SEC and reduce his turnovers drastically. Jaden Daniels. I've seen it. Can Dampier, though, going from New Mexico to the Big 12, I'm not saying it's a massive leap, but Joe, if he's going to throw 12 picks in a lower conference, what happens in the Big 12? I'm honestly asking. Like, there's a lot that goes into this now.
I'm not dismissing that there's not a lot.
Do you think win the conference?
Yeah,
well,
I think they can.
You know what? Let's go to their schedule. Let's talk about it.
At UCLA versus Cal Poly, at Wyoming, which I don't know why you would go to Wyoming on the road willingly, versus Texas Tech, at West Virginia, versus Arizona State, at BYU, versus Colorado, versus Cincinnati, at Baylor, versus Kansas State, at Kansas. The games I think that they will not win: Arizona State, Texas Tech, but they get both those teams at home, so there's a chance that they can knock them off. Getting Colorado at home is extremely advantageous. I think that they can win that game, and they get Kansas State at home. All of their tough games, except for, I guess, BYU, which we don't know what the heck they're going for a quarterback. They get a lot of home games. And we talk a lot on here whenever there's a big Utah game and it's at home. It's one of the hardest places to go and win on the road.
It is. You think they're going to just, I mean, you glanced over the UCLA game.
You're out
on Nico.
Nico's going to be a blender. He's going to be in a blender. You think that, seriously, you think one offseason is enough for him to figure it out? Pick up the playbook and just be ready to go? He struggled in one of the simplest offenses to pick up in college football last year.
He had a wide receiver core that also led the country in drops too.
He's got a tin can and a traffic cone to throw to at UCLA. That team sucks. That UCLA team sucks.
Oh, God, it's so great. I agree with you to some extent. There are a couple of things on here I do want to point out that I don't think Colorado's a give. Like, I think that Colorado can go in there and win, depending on when that game is. Joe, they're going to Waco. Okay, I still think Baylor can beat them at home. Joe, what is Kansas State and Kansas? I mean, what are they? I mean, there are a lot of 50-50 type games in here for me, outside of games like Arizona State and Texas Tech, who we think are going to be in the Big 12 title game. There's too many 50-50s for me for you to get all of them. Joe, I got to go 8-4. I got to go 8-4.
I think that they can go 10-2. I really do. They have such an advantage getting all those home games. I think that this is going to be one last shot for Kyle Whittingham to end out on a good note.
I will agree with you on this. If the concerns that I have about them offensively are not as big of issues as I am making them, I can't agree with you that they can go 10-2 and be in the Big 12 title game. Begs the question, do we have a really interesting conversation about the Big 12 at the end of this?
Well, when we do that Big 12 preview, which is going to be coming up real soon.
Are you picking Utah to win the conference?
I think I'm actually going to do Texas Tech.